On February 1st, 1865, the Northern Army was en route from Savannah, Georgia, to Columbia, South Carolina, when the Confederates made their last big defensive effort at Broxton Bridge and Rivers Bridge on the Salkehatchie River. On the southern end of the plantation, there is an old battleground complete with all the breastworks left over from the defense. The Union Army took part in the Carolinas campaign by departing Savannah, Georgia for Columbia, South Carolina on 1st in February 1865. The Confederate Army attempted to halt the Union Army's advance by setting up several defensive positions along the Salkehatchie River, such as Rivers Bridge, Buford's Bridge, and Broxton's Bridge. When the Union Army under the command of Major General William Tecumseh Sherman reached the Confederate defenses on 2nd of February, Sherman decided to send his left wing, consisting of the Army's 1st Division under the command of Major General Joseph A. Mower, to march on Broxton Bridge while the rest of the 17th Corps would attempt to capture Rivers Bridge, which lay upstream. The Salkehatchie River was the final defense line before the Union Army could march on Columbia, so the capture of at least one crossing proved crucial if the campaign was to succeed. The first skirmish of the battle occurred after a turkey call, a Union troop, then popped his head up a Confederate, then takes the first shot. The battle would begin between a Union infantry battalion of the 1st Division and the Confederate cavalry, in which the Union forces proved victorious as the Confederate cavalry retreated behind the Broxton Bridge. Seeing this retreat, Major General Mower ordered an attack on Broxton Bridge, but was repelled by the Confederates. Following this loss, Mower ordered his troops to instead march 6 miles upstream to assist his comrades in the Battle of Rivers Bridge. As a full frontal charge was deemed impossible due to the Confederates' strongly entrenched positions, an attack was delayed until the next day, when the Union forces crossed the Rivers Bridge by plowing through a nearby swamp. At the same time, a small Union force had returned to Broxton Bridge to engage the enemy again in a flanking maneuver. This time, the attack proved successful, and as a result forced the Confederate Army to abandon their positions and retreat toward Columbia. The Union victories at Broxton Bridge and Rivers Bridge led to the occupation of the countryside north of the Salkehatchie River by the Union Army, as well as the ability to cut off the South Carolina Railroad, an important supply line from the Confederate defenders. The defeat of the Confederate Army at Salkehatchie River also ultimately led to the capture of Columbia later that month. The Union casualties were recovered shortly after the battle and were buried in the National Cemetery at Beaufort, South Carolina. Currently, the Broxton Bridge location still bears the scars of the battle that took place in 1865. Some breastworks are still well preserved, as well as remnants of the Confederate defense lines. A reenactment of the battle takes place yearly on the old battlefield. Ladies and gentlemen, the Battle of Broxton Bridge.